Hello, Warriors of Light, and welcome to my weekly podcast that covers different Final Fantasy XIV topics. This is my 29th podcast of 2025 and the 81st episode in the series. Like usual, I will be dividing this podcast into two parts. For the first part, I will be commenting on one topic from the Japanese General Forum, the new optional items from the Final Fantasy XIV online store, the ongoing Moogle Treasure Trove event, the recommencement of housing demolition on European data centers, and the collaboration between Final Fantasy XIV and K.UNO. For the second part of the podcast, I will be commenting on the Chronicles of Light Artbook, the Eorzea Cafe 11th Anniversary Celebration, Patch 7.3, the latest episode of Duty Commenced, the new Square Enix Pop Up store, and the release of Patch 7.25. Today is July 19th, 2025. So, this year, I will randomly pick general official forum topics in different languages and give gamers my thoughts on them. So today, I will be commenting on a thread from the Japanese forum titled吹き出し機能, or translated in English as speech bubble function that was created by a user named Ekibin. This discussion was started in February of 2016 and discusses adding speech bubbles to Final Fantasy XIV. So, this discussion has been around for many years, and now Final Fantasy XIV will have an option for speech bubbles in the upcoming updates. And I have to agree with other posters on this forum that having an option to change the bubble sizes and filtering speech bubbles from friends would be great ideas. In addition, there were a lot of questions about whether a speech bubble would be created for players that use the shout feature in chat, and if speech bubbles would be created for players not in visual range. Overall, I think this is the best discussion for this upcoming feature. So, in closing this part, I highly recommend gamers to take a look at this Japanese discussion and see what other gamers are thinking about. Next, the Final Fantasy XIV online store released new optional items. Gamers can purchase the new Crystarium Rebels attire. This costume set includes the Crystarium Rebels top, wrist gear, thigh boots, and more. With this costume set, gamers can dress up their character as Alice, the spirited female heir to the Levelure line. Gamers can find more information from the Final Fantasy XIV online store. Next, the Moogle Treasure Trove event has already started and will end upon the release of Patch 7.3. The top prize is the coffee cup earring. Some of the rare items I saw on the list for mounts were the Ruby Gwyber trumpet and the Iron Frog Mover ignition key. These items will help new players get the Ruby Gwyber and the Iron Frog Mover, respectively. In addition, there is a new Ultimog challenge, and a sizable tombstone reward awaits those who complete this special task. I highly recommend gamers participate in this unique event for the rare items. Next, the automatic housing demolition timer for worlds in the European data center, which was halted temporarily in November 2024, will resume with the release of Patch 7.3 scheduled for early August. The counter for automatic demolition may be reset for certain estates depending on the usage of housing during the period when estate demolition was suspended. If an estate hasn't been built on the plot, the counter may be reset upon entering the estate once it has been built. For players who have not entered their estates for at least 30 days, the status under the Estate tab of the timer's window will indicate the estate is being prepared for demolition and denote the number of days remaining. This status will no longer be displayed upon entering the estate. Gamers can find more information on the Lodestone website. Next, the Final Fantasy XIV team has collaborated with K.UNO, and a detailed recreation of Alphinaud and Alice's silver ear cuffs are now available for pre-order. K.UNO is a world-renowned company that has worked with a number of Fortune 500 companies, including Disney, and highly recognized for its diamond-studded jewelry. Gamers can expect an extremely well-crafted silver ear cuff with detailed and decorative designs. I highly recommend gamers to check out both the Square Enix store and the K.UNO website. So now, we will take a small break and continue on to part 2 of this podcast in a few moments. Welcome back, everyone. So, for part 2 of this podcast, I will be commenting on the Chronicles of Light Artbook, the Eorzea Cafe 11th Anniversary Celebration, Patch 7.3, the latest episode of Duty Commenced, the new Square Enix Pop Up store, and the release of Patch 7.25. So, the Final Fantasy XIV team has announced that Final Fantasy XIV Chronicles of Light Volume 2 is due for release on Tuesday, October 7th, with pre-orders available today. This collection contains a total of 30 short stories, including those originally published on the Lodestone as Tales from the Shadows, Tales from the Twilight, Tales from the Dawn, and Tales Under the New Moon, along with 4 new and exclusive stories. The book also features cover art and illustrations by acclaimed Final Fantasy artist Toshiyuki Idahana. Next, the Eorzea Cafes will celebrate its 11th anniversary on Wednesday, July 31st, and giving out special acrylic stands. In addition, the Eorzea Cafe in Yokohama will be opened this summer for a limited time. Gamers can expect a cafe with the theme of Limsa Laminsa in the Yokohama Kenai store, and a special menu with a concept different from the other stores. Gamers can also receive a coaster of your favorite pattern and 1 random magnet. International gamers that are interested in this upcoming event can make travel arrangements through Rakuten Travel and book both tickets and hotel rooms. Gamers can find more information on the Japanese Lodestone website. So, Patch 7.3 will include a new deep dungeon titled Pilgrim's Traverse, a new cosmic explorer destination called Faena, new upgrades to phantom weapons, a new Unreal trial for the Wreath of Snakes battle, and the second part of the Alliance raid titled Echoes of Vanadale San. Doria, the Second Walk. Gamers can find more information on the official Lodestone website. Next, the latest episode of Duty Commenced was broadcasted on June 25th, and the 3 hosts, Danielle, Sarah, and Aya, discussed exhilarating details coming in Patch 7.3 and the latest episode from Letter from the Producer. In addition, Danielle, Aya, and Sarah, also known as Okiyomi, Sekiri, and Minorine respectively, showcased the latest entries from talented content creators and artists during the Community Commendation segment for prizes and giveaways, such as 10 Jijendender figurines. The revealing episode is now available to watch on the Lodestone website or on the official Final Fantasy XIV Twitch channel. Next, the Square Enix Pop Up store will open in Osaka at Damaru Umeda Store and Damaru Tokyo Store for a limited time. At these stores, new official goods will be pre-sold, and Square Enix's popular comic and game titles will be available. In addition, gamers can enjoy the exhibition of the Final Fantasy IX illustration panel, which celebrated its 25th anniversary, and photos at the photospot. Gamers can expect an introduction of some of the Final Fantasy XIV products that will be sold in advance at the venue. Gamers can find more information on the Japanese Lodestone website. Lastly, Patch 7.25 was released on May 27th and included a new field operation named Crescent Isle, Mirage Island, with an area named the Occult Crescent, South Horn. In addition, the patch also included Moogle J Allied Society quests and more Hildebrand adventure quests. Also, phantom weapons are obtainable through new weapon enhancement quests by working with Gerald Blackthorn, the legendary blacksmith for all relic weapons in Final Fantasy XIV. To participate in the new field operation, gamers will need to speak to the Expedition Messenger in Tuliolol and start the quest titled One Last Hurrah. Gamers must have completed the main scenario quest Dawntrail. To participate in the Moogle J Allied Society quests, gamers will need to speak to Gotal J in Yak TL and start the quest titled Cultivating Hope. Gamers must have completed the main scenario quest Dawntrail and the side quest One Forest. So, to participate in the Hildebrand adventure quests, gamers will need to speak to Nashu Makaraka in Solution 9 and start the quest titled Wizen Testimony. Gamers must have completed the main scenario quest titled Crossroads and the quest titled The Case of the Displaced Inspector. And, to participate in the Phantom Weapons quests, gamers will need to speak to Eorzea in the Phantom Village and start the quest titled Arcane Artistry. Gamers must first complete the side quest Unfamiliar Territory to begin the Phantom Weapon quests. And that's all I have for my 29th podcast for 2025. If you enjoy my podcasts, you can subscribe to my English podcast channels on YouTube and Rumble, and my Russian channels on RuTube and VKontakte. Also, you can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, under Dynamis Ryne. Each week, I try to answer comments and questions found on my channels through my weekly podcasts. Feel free to post on my social media platforms and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you next time.